clash between Kaido and Luffy rages on, as Chapter 1049 begins. In the midst of their power struggle, Kaido praises Luffy for how far he's come, but he still doesn't believe that the Straw Hat has what it takes to change the world. After this, he thinks back to his past. A child Kaido walks through a war-torn city, being praised for being such a strong soldier at just 10 years old. Jumping forward, 46 years before the current battle, Kaido questions why the Vodka Kingdom has to answer to the Celestial Dragons and pay tribute to them. The tribute is gathered by waging war against other areas. If they don't make the tribute, their human rights will be stripped from them. He is then sent to the Navy by his own kinsmen, when he's around 13 years old, as they can no longer control him. Part of the conditions of his enlistment is a seat at the next reverie, which angers Kaido, who declares that he isn't a political pawn. At some point, he escapes the Marines, which is part of the pattern of allowing himself to be captured just to ensure he has food to eat before he escapes again. 2 years later, on the island of Fulad, he stands victorious after a brawl at age 15. A young Whitebird asks Kaido if he wants to join Rock's crew, which he agrees to. After venturing to God Valley and attacking several world nobles, the Rock's pirates snooze to Garp and Roger after the two join forces, shocking everyone who hears the news. It's suspected that their infighting played a role in their defeat 10 years after the fall of the Rock's pirates. Kaido has established his own crew and garnered a fearsome reputation. King is by his side, listening, as Kaido and Kurozumi Hideyoshi talk about the nature of humans and how might is what solves problems. Hideyoshi likens them to animals, which Kaido completely agrees with. She goes on to declare that weapons are what speak loudest and proposes a deal with Kaido. Kaido goes on to declare war against the world nobles. In a discussion with King, Kaido says that Yamato has been talking about Joy Boy, and how Oden wanted to open Wano's borders, so that Joy Boy could come. He goes on to say that he knows the identity of Joy Boy, to which King asks who it is. Back in the present, the remaining CP0 agent makes their escape from Onigashima. Momonosuke is watching the fight from below before Yamato calls out to him to create the flame clouds needed to move the island. He tries once again to create them but is still struggling. Meanwhile, the citizens of the flower capital are still celebrating and releasing the skyboats into the air. Point on the performance floor, the remaining fighters begin hearing cries of some kind coming from the castle. They wonder what the noise is, but they soon find out when the wave of water Reizo created comes crashing through. The various groups that were still inside are swept up in the wave, including Brook and Robin, Usopp, Kikunajo and Kinemon. Sanji and the women from the pleasure hall are also swept up in the flood. The water rushes past the treasure repository, where Hiyori and Tanjiro are. Tanjiro speaks to Hiyori, as he embraces her, telling her that she's been brave and strong. Point outside, Kaido's flame clouds finally disappear completely, as Kaido asks Luffy what kind of world he can create. Momonosuke gives it one last shot and manages to create a plume of clouds and successfully move the island out from beneath Kaido and Luffy. With it out of range, Luffy answers Kaido's question, as he puts all of his strength into one final attack. I'll make a world where my friends can eat as much food as they want. Finally, after an arduous struggle, Luffy manages to break through Kaido's defenses and send him plummeting to the ground below. As Kaido falls, he thinks back to his conversation with King, revealing that Joy Boy would be the one to finally defeat him. As the people of the flower capital watch the skyboats carry their wishes of freedom and peace into the sky, Momonosuke and Onigashima land safely on the ground outside the city. Review of this chapter. This chapter was okay. I wish we saw more of Kaido's past instead of 3 pages, but I think Oda's saving that on purpose. Hopefully we see how this arc is going and that final panel Oda wanted to draw in Wano. What are your thoughts on this chapter?